Jerry, there has never. Did I startle you?
Gee, I'd like to leave a call, for God's sakes. Go ahead, Bob.
Jerry, I have never interviewed you when I didn't look forward to it. That may I tell you, my dear, that I have looked forward to this with the greatest joy and anticipation of any time I've ever met you or talked with you.
Well,
And
thank
you're
you.
looking super.
Thank you. I feel
Super.
good.
Now, you were in Texas, in Houston, with Dr. DeBakey.
Just a few days ago, yeah.
Yes, and so problems or what?
No. The checkup that I had with Dr. DeBakey was planned 7 weeks ago, right after the operation, for me to come down to Houston and do some stress tests. I did them, and I passed with flying colors.
So now does this mean an entirely a change of lifestyle for you or what?
No, not really. There's a diet lifestyle change. There's no smoking lifestyle change. This is my 7th week, 49th day, who's counting, with no cigarettes. So that somewhere, you'll have to forgive me if I just go into my pocket and get my replacement. Would you like a lemon drop?
Not right at the
No,
moment.
but I need to have it, because the minute I talk about... I smoked for 43 years, two and a half packs a day. And I'm doing very well because I really don't need it. And if I think about it a little more than I should, I just take a look down there. And it's an amazing equalizer. I don't need it. I'm doing fine.
Jerry, if you were now 21, knowing what you know now, would you have ever smoked in the first place?
I think so. I think that 21 is stupid enough to have done it, yeah. I'd like to think that I wouldn't, but at that age, I don't think, even with the information, that you take it. Wisdom doesn't come till you're around 50. I promise you I'm right. That was 6 years ago. That's when I got it. And it's a wonderful gift. Unfortunately, the young never know it.
Yeah, who was it that said it's a shame to waste youth on the young?
Yeah, he said some other good stuff also, but it happens to be true because you go through that stupid period of doing things that hurt you, and you don't find out until much later that you could have done without it.
Jerry, is there any one thing prior to the heart attack, any particular stressful situation or something that you can pinpoint it to and say, that's when the trouble started?
No, it's a very, very deceptive kind of a thing. As a matter of fact, I didn't have a heart attack. I just had some chest pains and went into the hospital to have it checked. And I'm very grateful that I didn't have a heart attack and that what I had was pinched aortas, because then they do a double bypass and you have practically a new heart that way. The other way, you live with a time bomb because they can't do anything with a heart that's been damaged but give you medication and you hope. So in a sense, it's really a blessing in disguise because you can live a very, very meaningful, healthy, active life just as you did before, except that in these next 3 or 4 months, I'm going to have to cool it a little. I'm going to have to walk a little more like Jack Klugman and talk a little more like Jack Lemmon, slow and facile, they say.
Jerry, philosophically, what has this whole experience meant to you or done to you?
Well, it's very humbling. It makes you see the grass is greener, and you appreciate things more. I just hope it lasts. The human condition is such, unfortunately, that we forget quickly. But when you are involved in what I have seen, I scrubbed with Michael. I know what a double bypass operation looks like. I stood right there 20-some times with Michael. Now I know what this body can go through and take, and when you go through that and you realize that you left and they brought you back, which happened to me, it's very humbling. And the only thing you learn is that when you open your eyes in the morning, that's success. It changes your priorities a little.
And you're soon to be married.
Yeah, Sunday.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
I'm starting to get nervous.
Well, you've got your nitro around your neck.
You bet I have.
Okay. Jerry, want to talk now about the movie. king of comedy. I loved it,
Good.
truly,
I'm glad.
truly. And I love very much your performance, which is such a departure.
Hmm.
The thought occurs to me, Jerry, in the initial stages, were you ever considered for the De Niro role? Because if we go with type, then that's what you would play, would be the De Niro role.
No, I don't think that was ever the case. As a matter of fact, Bobby had the script. Paul Zimmerman wrote the original and brought it to Bobby. Bobby brought it to Marty. And it was always for Bobby De Niro. Because he is as caustic and as broad and abrasive a character. I think I understand what you mean. But no, I was never considered for that. I think they considered maybe 20 different people to play my role. And when Bobby and Marty and I got together and we talked, we realized we had a three-way love affair, really fan clubs anonymous. As a director and a writer and an actor, Marty felt that I was all the things he wanted to be. I didn't know he was the president of my fan club, and then found out De Niro was worse. He ran 3 or 4 of my films every day like a maniac. So we had a mutual admiration society going in. That had a great deal to do with, I'm sure, my being selected to play the role, because we needed that kind of camaraderie to pull off that three-way job. It was a very, very unusual set of circumstances. Tough film.
What do you think Johnny Carson's reaction will be to the film?
Well, I think he has to be a little disturbed, only in that we have such fear of copy crime and all of that stuff. But you can't stop living your life, and you can't stop the creative process. I also believe that if you were to worry about copy crime, as they call it, nothing could be produced or made. The whole creative process would stop, if you think about it, because the cuckoo bird out there, he can turn anything he sees into whatever he needs to have happen. And we would just do nothing. And then he'd have an empty television screen, but in the back of his mind, he could play something in that format anyhow. So what do? Stop living? No, you just have to do the things that you believe are good, creative things, and you just can't think pessimistically. You have to just go forward, I think.
You don't think you'll be invited on The Tonight Show to plug the movie?
Oh, sure, I have been already.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And will Johnny be there that night?
Oh, sure. If I do it, I'm sure he will. He's not upset about it. I'm sure that he has had concerns of the likes of which we depict in the film long before the film was ever made. We all do. We all have those concerns. After John Lennon and the Hinckley verdict, which is very distressing to me and many other people. But I really believe we have to go on doing what we believe is best in that creative process and live our lives. You can't stop doing things because, well, maybe. You know, the world would stop.
Jerry, when you were a young performer, just getting going, and I have to believe that you always loved show business. You were born into it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so when you were a young performer, was there any of that anxiety and that zealousness that Rupert has? Did you have any of that?
Oh, sure. I'm positive that I did. Unfortunately, the intensity with which Bobby plays it comes across, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I should say fortunately, the intensity with which Bobby plays it is marvelous for the film. But I cannot believe that any human being could ever be that intense. As I recall, I wanted so much to be a part of what my dad did, and so much for him to put me on, and so much for him to look at the material that I wrote. And I went through those overzealous periods, but never to the degree that Bobby does in the film. But I guess everything happens in degrees. He depicts in the film a fanatic, and the word fan comes from fanatic. And he plays it to a fairly well. I think he's just brilliant.
I agree. I agree. Just wonderful.
But it's one of the few times that you've seen Bobby without a full disguise. So he has the most. He's probably one of the biggest stars in the world today that can walk on the street anywhere he wants and nobody will know who he is.
It's true, because he
has-
looks different in every
Yes,
role.
total anonymity. This role, Shelley Hack was on the air this morning and said that she had walked on the set to see Marty and walked right by Bobby, didn't know who he was. And that's a wonderful thing that he has going for him. It's a marvelous, marvelous thing.
Jerry, in this, it is your first straight dramatic role on film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find yourself in this role, under the direction of Martin Scorsese, did you find yourself doing things that you later thought, my gosh, I can't believe I did that?
No, no. As a matter of fact, I was eager to do some of the things that you're alluding to, wishing, my God, did I do that? There weren't the opportunities for that. What you see is what you got. It was really very easy to play that role against the intensity of Bobby and Marty's intensity. And they did a marvelous job between director and actor to suck the third party in between them. And they got what they wanted. And I respected every minute of it.
You're the anchor, Jerry. I'm not trying to patronize you or be flattering to you, but if you weren't as good as you are, then everything De Niro does wouldn't really work. Because you're as I see it, you're a sort of anchor around which the rest of it works.
Conversely, if Bobby wasn't what he was in the film, I could never have appeared to be the anchor. I could never have appeared to be the catalyst to make it all work.
Okay, before we run out of time, you have 2 more pictures you're working on. Slapstick.
Slapstick is finished, and Smorgasbord, I'm just in the final editing stages.
Okay, and so when are we going to see those?
This year. You will OD on JL this year, I promise you.
Are we going to see a zany Jerry Lewis?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You're
It
back,
had nothing to do with Scorsese, De Niro, or King of Comedy. It's back to where I belong, and Smorgasbord is really the best work I've done. It's insane, and I love it. I had great fun doing it. Slapstick is the Kurt Vonnegut book, which will be at the end of the year sometime. I don't know. But my picture, Smorgasbord, will be the summer, late summer.
Okay. Now, what about the picture that you did several years ago?
The Day the Clown Cried?
Yes.
That's still sitting in Sweden. We did that in 1970.
So what's going to happen?
Fortunately, it's a period piece, so whenever they settle their dispute between the Swedish and the French government, I'll be able to do something with it. Friends of mine, colleagues of mine, Jean-Luc Godard has a film in Sweden that sits there. Ingmar Bergman has a couple of films that are sitting there under this same aegis, is that the word? Yes, the French-Swedish co-production. Their films are kaput because they were contemporary. I'm fortunate in that I made a period piece, and anytime they give me the go-ahead, I'll finish it, I hope.
It's a union thing or what?
No, it's just a financial arrangement between the French and the Swedish, and their relationship broke down and put everything on a hot hold, and it's been held now for some time.
Well, Jerry, we will be looking forward to those films.
Okay.
And again, congratulations on a super performance. I mean it.
Thank
Super
you.
performance in King of Comedy.
Thank you, Bowie.
And you're looking super, and stay well and have a happy life.
I will. Thank you, darling.
Love to see you.
Thank you. Gee whiz, you do good stuff.
All right, now then, we'll just move around here, Bob. And
Want to see my car?
oh, that's, yeah, where they take the,
Look where it goes.
oh my word.
Oh, it's a beaut. They took enough. They took enough artery out of there to take care of 37 people.
But it's still faded. It's fading, though.
Yeah,
Even though
it-
it's as new as it is, it's fading out.
It's fading nicely. As a matter of fact, I could smuggle stuff in there if I got over it.
All right.
You want me to get out of your shot?
You're not bothering me at all. Make
Oh,
yourself
okay.
comfortable.
Okay.
All right.
now I was kind of sitting about like this, and I
You
had
need
this
some
in my
film
hands.
or any lenses in
Okay,
here?
so
I can't sell anybody anything, damn it.
now if you'll cut me like about here, and just the same shot on me. You don't need to vary the shot at all.
I think you should turn just slightly this way, right?
About like this. Okay.
Why don't you speak to me about it?
Okay.
Nicely.
And
Matter of fact,
I'll give some reactions first, and then we'll do the sound.
oh, it's a beaut.
Yeah,
They took
Give
enough
me that
water.
cut point again where you want to.
about like so.
Right, that, right
Okay.
on it. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay, Carol? Can rotate.
okay.
Rolling, Carol? Rolling tape. Okay, go ahead, Billy.
Okay. Sound for questions, please. So, Jerry, the hospital visit with Dr. DeBakey, was it problems or what? Jerry, was there any particular thing that happened prior to the trouble that you could pinpoint it and say that's what caused it? So now are you having to change your lifestyle completely? Jerry, knowing what you know now, let's say at 21, would you have still smoked? Philosophically, what has this experience done to you? Let's talk about the movie now, King of Comedy. Was this a role that you went after? Was there ever any thought to your playing the role Rupert that De Niro plays? How do you think Johnny Carson is going to react to King of Comedy? Will you be able to go on the Tonight Show and plug the movie? Will Johnny be there? As a young performer, Jerry, did you have any of Rupert's zealous? As a young performer, Jerry, were you ever as zealous as Rupert? All right. Does anybody
If you
remember?
do any more cutaways, I ain't gonna be in this goddamn movie.
Oh, one more about the, okay, one more about the other movies. What about these other movies you have coming along? Are we ever going to see a zany Jerry Lewis again? Okay, that should do it. Good line, good line. Now we do these, Jerry, for news excerpts.